Got some really interesting images that came up when I was shuffling out this spread for you. You've got some great things, by the way, and let me just talk about a few things first that I saw, and I'll unpack them via the spread. Um, I also have an announcement to make. Let me start with that first. I don't usually make announcements, especially because I know that people are here for the reading, but I am no longer giving out private readings. If you are interested in a private reading, I do have a colleague who is a psychic that I trust wholeheartedly. She is an amazing reader, and her information to her scheduling website is in the description box down below. So if you're interested in a reading, if you're looking for some type of spiritual guidance, please reach out to her. And her scheduling website is very user friendly. It's easy to use, and it's very it's a speedy process. Okay, so if that's something that you want to do, please do reach out. So the information is in the description box below. You can click on the link and it'll take you to her scheduling website where you can enter your information, and it's checkout is via PayPal. It's very easy to use. Okay, so I encourage you to get a reading with her. She's very phenomenal. So when I was shuffling out the spread for you, what I saw was I see this tunnel. It's underground, and it's a long tunnel, but there is this really beautiful pinkish white light at the end of the tunnel. And I see this puppy. He's a black he's a black puppy with some white spots on him. He's wagging his tail and he's happily walking through this tunnel because he sees the light on the other side. Now, animals have amazing instincts, and I know this is a puppy and he's, finding his way. But as he's moving closer and closer to the light, what's at the end of the tunnel is I see a big like doggy bag of food, and it's spilled over. So it's like spilled over on the ground. So of course he's gonna get some food. And then I also feel like there are these. It's almost like walking into, and I feel like initially when it's like the light at the end of the tunnel, you think it's going to be lit up with fluorescent light. But what's really lighting things at the end of that tunnel is like gold coins, medallion gold coins, things that are shiny and shimmery and glittery. And that's what's creating all that light. So the dog is definitely in the right place. He has no use for, the coins and the money and the gold, but somebody can get it to, it's almost like the dog is the pioneer and he's discovering these things. So whoever walks in his footstep is going to come across this treasure. Okay, so it's a very beautiful imagery, and I feel like his if he's hungry, his needs are going to be met. If he is looking for work, that's going to be coming into the picture as well. If he's looking for resources, it's going to be there. So I definitely feel like you're verging on the end of a cycle where you're going to be able to get all your needs met. So that's the first image. The second image that I feel here is I keep seeing this cartoon looking fairy. And I don't know the movie. I think it might have been Sleeping Beauty, where the fairy godmothers, there are three of them, I believe, and they're kind of pudgy. They're a little bit on the heavier side. So I see this pudgy fairy, and she has like really small wings, and the wings are like flapping. And she's holding this wand, and she's smiling, so she seems like very benevolent. And I feel like she's like smoothing out somebody's hair, like comforting them, smoothing things out, making a situation better, ironing things out, and just overall, there's this really strong energy of spiritual, ancestral protection coming through for you. Okay, so whatever it is, you don't need to fear it. You need to be kind of like be able to trust your intuition and trust your instinct, kind of like this puppy. Okay, to walk into the unknown, without armor, without any way to defend yourself, and to trust that you're walking in the right direction, because there's going to be food at the end of the tunnel. So that's what I saw. And I remember when I did the reading for you at the very beginning of the month, you guys have embarked on a journey and you're waiting for a situation. And I mentioned you were trying to flap your wings, trying to get to your destination, right? And it feels like it feels like it's very difficult, and it feels very labor intensive, and it just feels like you're tired, like you need a rest, like you just want to land and just stay where you're at and not have to move. So I feel like energetically there might be some drainage. There might be a situation where you're feeling a little bit tired, a little bit under the weather, a little bit just vitality is very low. This could be with somebody that you're dealing with. If you're taking care of elderly parents, if you're taking care of people in your midst, there's somebody here that is very stubborn. They know what they have to do and they know what's good for them, but they're refusing to partake in activities or taking their medicine or doing things that would actually be beneficial. Like I see somebody who's cooped up in the home for a very long time, and I see them. I see you trying to, get them to move. Okay, so like, do you want to go on a hike? You need some fresh air. Let's go on a hike. And they're like, no, no, no. I'm okay where I'm at right now. And you're trying to tell them, hey, why don't we take a trip so that you can get your mind off things? They're like, no, 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 I'm okay here. And so I feel like you're having difficulty trying to get somebody out of the house. And I feel like for some of you elderly parents, for others, it's somebody that is lacking in vitality and they don't want to do these physical activities. And it could be they're physically lacking in vitality, or emotionally they're feeling a little bit cooped up and they don't really want to they don't want to do what they know deep down is good for them. Okay, so they're trying to avoid doing the self work. Okay. What I'm also seeing as well, we have here the Ace of Wands, and we have as well, this is the Page of Wands. Okay, you guys are definitely embarking on something brand new. This could be a project. This could be a new job. This could be some type of a creative venture that you're very excited about and you're going to be undertaking wholeheartedly. There's a lot of hopefulness and optimism associated with this. This is an opportunity for you to kind of prove yourself. No longer a child, protected and coddled. We're now becoming a little bit more, we're growing up and we have skills that we want to display to the rest of the world. Okay, so I feel like you're embarking on a brand new journey, and I feel like it's forcing you to step outside of your comfort zone a little bit. But I do sense that you have a lot riding on this, and I also feel like you're going to be, it's in your element, fire signs, the suit of wands, it's in your element, which basically means you're going to transition into it very naturally, without any type of hurdles to overcome, without any type of a learning curve, without any type of I want to say without any type of setbacks. Okay, so if you've been fearful of doing this in the past, or if you've been feeling like, once again, self-esteem, I don't know if I'm ready for this just yet. Maybe in 2 years, maybe in 3 months, I need to get myself prepared for it. If for whatever reason you've been holding back, and now you feel like, I'm going to do this and I feel like it's the right time and I'm going to embark on it wholeheartedly and I'm going to show my skills. So I definitely feel the learning curve is not going to be a problem for you. There isn't a learning curve. It seems to me like it's more like a straight path, okay? And we also have as well the straight shooter. This is communication, contact, a lot of exchanges over wide distances. So I definitely feel a lot of communication, a lot of interaction back and forth via electronic communication, emails, text messages. What I'm seeing as well, I see many of you are keeping in contact with a lot of people, okay, going back and forth. And I do see as well, I don't know why there's this mirroring energy here, but I feel like there's a lot of going back and forth, a lot of communication, a lot of long distance communication. And so make sure, and I do see geographical distance as well, but it's going to hit the mark. Okay, so this is a card that traditionally facilitates travel and movement and communication in general. The way that it's coming out, they're saying that you're going to hit the mark, so the distance is not really going to matter. Things are going to be arriving very, very smoothly and transition very smoothly for you. So you don't have to worry. And there's still, okay, the mirroring energy makes sense now. There's some type of a spiritual protection. I mentioned before the ancestral protection, and it's almost like whatever hits this mirror is going to bounce back. Okay, so if it's malintention, it's going to be sent back or boomerang back to the sender. So if you've been dealing with any situation where you feel like you have to shield yourself, or if you have to kind of keep your opponents at bay or try to keep the negativity, away from you, I feel that there is going to be some reprieve from that, and especially there's going to be some type of divine protection where it's going to bounce back that energy and it's not going to energetically affect you. So there's a lot of protection coming through from this spread. I feel like in a mundane sense, for example, if you have a deadline and for whatever for whatever reason, if you fail to miss the deadline, for example, I feel like the divine protection can come in a way where the deadline is pushed back because so and so that was supposed to be there to review the final product happens to be sick, so you have like that extra day to get things done. So it's like buying time. Somebody is stepping in, and it's divine protection that is going to allow you to extend a deadline to a later date that's more to your liking. Okay, and I also sense as well if there has been like some type of mistakes that you have made in the work environment, something minor, like a typo, like if you're publishing like a manual and there's a typo and it's going to be, or on a PowerPoint presentation and you're going to be in front of the entire work crew giving this PowerPoint presentation and there's like a glaring typo. I feel like there might be some technology malfunction, no one sees it, and then there's an element about saving face. Okay, so I feel like you have some people behind the scenes working to kind of buffer you against whatever negativity, against whatever errors, against whatever typos and things like that. So you do have some really good things, and I feel for whatever reason, whenever I see the spiritual protection, I feel like they always come in because there is a reason for it. So needless to say, be very, very careful about, doing your work diligently and making sure that whatever you put forward is the best my apologies for that noise. Whatever you put forward or whatever you put out into the world, we still need to be mindful that it has to be a good or a desirable representation of us. So it doesn't alleviate us from, dashing, assignments off in the middle of the night. You still have to do your due diligence and you still have to do the work. The spiritual protection that is behind you is to facilitate that process, but it doesn't alleviate you from doing your fair share of the work. But I definitely see you're being helped and you're being coddled and you're being in a situation where you are divinely protected. Okay? What I have here is the Four of Cups and the Seven of Cups, and both the Four and the Sevens are very, very spiritual numbers. They are indicative of healing. They're indicative of, as well, healing others. Okay, the healer and the teacher is what I'm sensing here. And I do sense there's a major difference here. This is about somebody who wants to maintain their distance. Okay, they're not going to get emotionally involved in other people's problems. They say their piece and they kind of leave it alone. They don't let the emotional undertones affect their decision, or they don't get pulled into that emotional space where they're looking at things so subjectively that they're not able to see the forest for the trees. And then we also have the Seven of Cups. This is like that empathy and that sympathy, wanting to do things for another person, feeling things so deeply where we feel like we have to step in and intervene. So there is this opposition here about you needing to protect your energy and needing to not get sucked into other people's emotional flare-ups or even emotional trauma. So if you, for example, have been doing a lot for other people, if you're somebody in your work environment that is doing all the work, or that's like, you know, the go-to person when people have problems and when people are dealing with emotional crises in their life, if it keeps happening over and over and over again, you kind of have to take the stance of, you know, loving detachment, okay? Not wanting to get involved, knowing when to push things away, and knowing when to energetically not let other people's issues affect you. If it's their problem, it's their problem. As much as we want to get involved, we kind of need to preserve our energy and need to draw very clear boundaries, okay? I mentioned 2 weeks ago, there was this guilt, and I feel like it's coming into the picture. Wanting to do things for another person, or feeling like telling yourself, oh, I can't do this because of ABC. And usually those ABC reasons are linked up with another person that you feel this sense of indebtedness to. So I don't know, for some of you, I feel like somebody helped pave the way for you. Somebody provided something so that you could do something else. And I feel like there's a sense of guilt, there's a sense of indebtedness. And I feel like it doesn't have to be that way. So you kind of need to draw back your energy and to also learn to, it's almost like, yes, they built the foundation. You know, the fours are about the foundation. Yes, they built that foundation. But without your skills, without your diligence, without your hard work, you couldn't resurrect anything from that foundation. So they built the foundation, but it was your hard work that created everything else that came after. So you have to give yourself that credit and not feel that sense of indebtedness to another person. So I feel like there's something here where you are underestimating your capabilities or underestimating your strength, okay? I'm seeing as well, we have here shining away from the sunlight and the spotlight. So this is the Five of Wands. Not wanting to be in that sunlight or that spotlight. Conflict avoidant as well. Boundaries, okay? So making sure that you stand up for the things that you believe in. And this is something that I feel strange saying to an Aries, because you guys are very militant about defending your beliefs. You guys are quite aggressive when it comes to, you know, giving somebody your 2 cents. You know, you do get upset, you blow up, and then you get over it. But there is a situation here. The fives indicate opposition. It doesn't have to be nasty or drawn out, or, you know, it can just be a situation where we do not see eye to eye with another person. And I feel like you're blocking away this conflict, and I feel that you need to kind of face it head on. Underneath it is the devil, and this is something that, you know, the devil is kind of like the greatest like sleight of hand, okay? So it's almost like we fear it because we feel like he might exist out there somewhere, but it's in our mind space. Okay? So it's almost like the imagination runs wild, and we make a situation a lot scarier than it has to be. So unless we face it head on, it's going to be constantly, you know, this dreaded fear, but it's not very real. So unless we face it head on, we're not going to be able to banish the fears. We carry it with us. So, and once again, like I said, I feel like it's a little bit strange for me to mention this for you guys, for Aries, but I feel like there's something here where you're trying to avoid conflict, you're trying to hold back, you're trying to appease the other person, and in a way succumbing to that too much and not voicing your opinion, or not drawing boundaries, or not being able to confront or face the situation head on. I do feel that you're giving your power away. Okay, so make sure that you are aware of this, and, you know, say your piece, hit your mark, and move forward. Okay, tackling things, being strategic, and especially communicating in a way where you're able to get your point across. Okay, straightforward communication, hitting your mark right here, and not being afraid of whatever this conflict, this person is, because I feel like the fear is a lot bigger in your head and in your psyche than it is in reality. I'm also sensing here there is a huge uptick when it comes to your financial resources and possibly being able to have two revenue streams. I have here the Two of Pentacles, two sources of income. So it could be you and a partner. It could be you juggling two things. And I feel like something is very, very brand new. It needs to be taken seriously and treated almost like with, kitty gloves, okay? Something that is very delicate. It needs an opportunity to grow, and it needs to be taken very seriously. So, you know how in the traditional Rider-Waite deck, the Two of Pentacles is the man juggling the two pentacles? In this situation, it's almost like, which one do I treasure? There are two cats here, and they're both, one is new. I guess one is a little bit more, this one looks like it's older. That one looks like it's a kitten. And so if it's brand new, you want to devote a little bit more time to it, okay? Until it's self-sustaining, until it's self-sufficient. So this is pretty much telling you not so much to multitask, but to do something, whatever that's newer, whatever that you need to kind of like get off the ground in a very foundational way. Establish that foundation first before you devote more time to what the existing thing. Okay, so treat things that are new, that are emerging, with a little bit more care and a little bit more attention, because it's new, and so it requires a lot more work. Okay, so the initial work that you put in, it's going to pan out. Just be very diligent, be very patient with it, and especially give it that care and that attention until it's able to progress on its own. All right, finances is going to be picking up for you guys very quickly. What I have here is the Eight of Pentacles. This is basically that harvest, okay? Being able to kind of like have something tangible as proof of your hard work. So the 7 is the harvest. The 8 is at that point of completion almost. Excuse me. And I feel like I almost feel like there's this big energy about, focusing, laser-like focus on one thing, birthing something, taking care of something that is brand new, nurturing it in order for it to grow for you. So I definitely see new projects that are in store for you. And I feel like it's going to pay dividends, but you have to kind of drop the other thing or put it in the back burner for now. Come back to it at a later date, okay? I hope the reading is helpful.